Walleye have excellent eyesight, which makes choosing the right lure color a key concern in many situations. In fact, years of guiding have taught Jon that tailoring crankbait color to water clarity, preferred forage, and other factors helps put more eyes in the boat on every trip. Up next, he shares time-tested tricks for quickly finding the best colors for any situation.
One of the neatest things about fishing up here in North Dakota is that I get to use two lines, and what that allows me to do is put down a couple different colors to start, and sooner or later we're going to figure out today exactly what color these fish want, but we're going to get there twice as fast because of being able to use these two lines. There's a lot of different things that I take into account on a daily basis when I'm looking at what colors am I going to use and what colors are going to be easiest for the fish to see. And one of those things is the skies. The first thing I do, in the morning is just habit on my part. I'll look up and I'm looking to see, do I have a sunny day? Do I have a cloudy day? What exactly am I going to have? Because it's going to do two things. One thing is it's going to dictate a little bit of where I may fish. In cloudy conditions, a lot of times the fish are going to be a little bit shallower. But the other thing it's going to do is it's going to tell me what colors are going to be best, because here's the thing, if I've got really bright clear skies and those fish are going to be able to see really well down there, especially if it's glass calm, here's the thing I'm going to do. I'm going to start with all my natural colors. Now if I have a day that's a little bit like today, we're getting a little bit of clouds, we're kind of in and out, but we're getting a little bit darker, that's when I'm going to go to a few of those brighter colors. So all said and done, I'm really looking at that first. That's the number one thing on my mind each day when I'm going to look at colors, is how much light am I going to have that's going to be able to get down into the water column to help these fish see. There's one right there. Yeah, got him hooked up. I was just on one of those turns. A lot of times when you're making a turn, pulling crankbaits, you'll find that you get hit, and it's because the bait's slowing down on one side of the boat, and on the other side of the boat it's speeding up, and this was on the inside. So what happened here is this crankbait just slowed down a little bit. Let's see if we got a pike or a walleye here. Oh, it's an eye. It's a good eye. He acted a little bit like a pike. A lot of times those pike will stay down, and this guy stayed down all the way in, but he's a good eye. Good dinner table fish. That's a good fish right there. We'll chuck him in here for dinner. Let me tell you one of the other things I look at that I think is really, really important though, is water clarity. You look at the water I'm fishing today, it's not necessarily a dirty brown water. What this water is it's really algae bloomed, and that goes right along the lines of being in dirty water. So now today, it seems already like these fish are really reacting to this fire tiger, and all fire tiger is probably the most popular color there is in a crankbait. But if you look at this fire tiger walleye shad, here's the thing about this lure. This is just a bright perch. So when you're sitting in these situations where you're in an algae stained body of water, something that might be a little bit brown, any dirty type situations, that's when I want to go to something like this that's brighter but still in the bait fish pattern. And like I say, this is just a perch for dark water. Now if I'm in really clear water, I'm going to go with the standard perch. But now let me tell you something else. Over on this line, I'm not catching nearly as many fish, and I'm running a standard perch. So we're going to have to switch that one over to a brighter color. Let's try switching to this one here. It's got a really bright bottom. Let's see if that can make a difference. It's a little different variation on a perch, but it's just a little bit brighter, and it's going to give off a little bit more flash. Oh, there's one right there. Right on that inside turn again. I don't know if I can't say for sure if I'm triggering them by slowing down or if they just want it slower. It seems like when I've gone slower, I'm not necessarily catching fish. So I would guess that it's just, oh yeah, that's an eye. I would guess that what's going on is that these fish are just hitting it, and that guy, he barely got it. I mean, he ended up on the back hook. When they end up on the back hook, a lot of times they came from the side and just missed it. Because if they come up from behind it, usually they'll get their mouth open and they'll eat that whole thing. I guess it doesn't much matter to me, just so he stayed hooked up. Here's another one on this one right now. Let's see what we got here. Oh, that might, you know what? That's just weeds. That just piled into some weeds. So let's get this fish taken care of. Look at that. That's a great dinner fish right there. I just got to figure out how to get him unhooked and we'll get that other one taken care of. But another thing that comes into my color selection each day is the conditions on the water. And you look at this fish right here, holy smokes. He's gonna get kept anyway, so we'll throw him in the live well before he bounces on the floor again. But here's the thing, when you get that little bit of ripple on the water, it takes away all of that reflection down there. There's no reflection down there right now because the sun can't just send beams of, rays of light down there. So part of what's happening now is we're pulling these solid bright colors, but if it were really flat calm and the sun were out, that's when I would go to the metallics, my golds and my chromes, and all of a sudden they'd get really, really effective. So keep that in mind too. Your flashy colors are always a little bit better when we've got light to reflect. When you don't have light to reflect, a lot of times these solid, more neutral type colors or your solid brights become really, really important because they're giving off all the color versus relying on flash in a chrome or a gold. There's one right there. That's a walleye. When they hit the surface like that, that's a walleye. A walleye, they'll get their mouth opened up. Those pike, with that slim nose, a lot of times they can stay down, and that's kind of the telltale sign as to if you got what you're searching for or not. This guy here, he was on the surface pretty quick with that mouth open, and it told me we had exactly what we were looking for. Look at that, what a great way to wrap up the day. I'll tell you, you can just cycle through colors, but if you take some of those things that we talked about today, some of those starting points, and just work your way through that progression, here's what you're gonna find out. You're gonna find that color that they're hot for a lot quicker. And on this one here, Fire Tiger just struck again. And that walleye, he fell for it. Just cycle through those colors though. Put some of this stuff to use and you know what you'll find? You'll end up finding the right color. You'll find it a lot faster. You'll be able to catch fish all day long. Let's throw that guy in the live well and we'll call it a day.